أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. In the past, we had been discussing themes from Quran in the modern perspective, and since last week, we have now started discussing some modern concepts and also the relevance, if there is any relevance, and the perspective in the Quran. So today I want to discuss integrity, particularly intellectual integrity, and then we'll see the Quranic perspective also. Here I may clarify one thing, that these are not the exact translations when I refer to Quran. If I refer to any Arabic word or any ayat or anything, Quran has its own themes, own perspectives. When we translate, one word or one ayat of Quran may contain different concepts, different perspectives of the modern sciences. And same is the case with translation if we are translating to any other language. So this is not a translation, this is not a tafsir. I am simply trying to discuss intellectual integrity, and then since it comprises different concepts in itself, we'll also refer to the Quranic themes on the subject. For example, when we talk about integrity in general, and then there can be specific references to different aspects or meanings or nuances of the same word. Personal integrity, academic integrity, professional integrity, intellectual integrity. We will refer to all these aspects also. And then the next part of my presentation will be about the morality. Without morality, we cannot discuss integrity. For example, honesty, morality, all these things can be discussed together, and they don't stand in isolation. They are interrelated, and even sometimes people use them interchangeably. In colloquially or in daily use, they use them interchangeably, although they have different specific nuances. So we'll discuss these words also. And then within intellectual integrity, intellectual virtue, intellectual humility, this is a concept, separate concept. And then intellectualization, although it is a psychological phenomenon, but sometimes people confuse this with intellectual activity, although it is quite distinct. It is a separate psychological phenomenon, but this term intellectualization is used. But in the Quranic perspective, when we come to discuss this, we'll find that it is very much related. And then the practical aspect, integrity pact at the personal level, at the family level, at the local level. But nowadays, it has a greater importance in the international law. How it is being implemented, how it is worked out, what is its significance. This is very important. So this is a separate part, although very brief. So these are different parts of my presentation. And I think I'll discuss up to morality, and then I may stop there. And next week we may start the next, we'll take up the next three parts of the presentation. So inshallah, I'll try to go up to morality and discuss these things. Now coming back to integrity, first of all, integrity in general. What is integrity? Integrity is the foundational moral virtue which forms the bedrock upon which good character is built. Any character is built. But when we are referring to integrity, we are referring to virtue, we are referring to good character. When we are talking of character, integrity is integral to character, so that it is mental and moral quality. Integrity presents the mental and moral quality of the character of a person, and at a higher level, the character of a group, a culture of the people, for example. When integrity remains distinctive to an individual, when it becomes distinctive to an individual, it becomes his identity. When integrity becomes identical to a person, then it is his identity. It is referred to as somebody, for example, for the prophets, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he was Siddiqun, he was Aminun. It was the identity of the prophet, for example. Individual's distinctive character, when it becomes his identity, now we are proceeding gradually from step to step. All these steps are connected. When it reaches the stage, a condition where the individual's distinctive character, it becomes his distinctive character, then it becomes his identity. It represents his personality at a higher ladder, at a higher pedestal. It becomes his personal integrity. And now we will be talking about personal integrity. I had shown that there are different aspects of integrity. Now we are discussing personal integrity. Socrates explained self-integrity. He is not using the translation, although it's a translation, that he is not using the words the personal integrity, but self-integrity. And Quran is also using the purification of self. Anyway, Socrates was Muwahhid. He believed in the one creator. Socrates explained self-integrity in very simple terms. To thine, to you, to your own self, be true. That is, be true to yourself. That is integrity. Self-integrity, personal integrity. But he is using the word self. Now, bearer of truth, the believer, Mu'min. And Quran is all the time calling, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, Ya ayyuhal lazeen. And then those who have come to believe, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, the bearers of the truth. Believer is a bearer of the truth. And the truthful practitioners, Muslimun. Quran is using these two terms in juxtaposition together also, and with contrast in meaning, with difference in meaning. Bearer of the truth and the truthful practitioner, the believer and the Mu'min and the Muslim. Integrity is all about, in simple terms now, again we are using simple term terminology, always being trustworthy with God and with one another. Relationships. We are created by God, and our relationships are created by God. He could have created all the humanity without father, and the example is there. But in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that I have created you sehran wa nisban. I have created you with maternal and paternal relationship. And that is how He has created our relationships. So these relationships are not without any significance or responsibility. And it is in Quran with reference to the relationships, particularly spousal relationship, that the phrase tilka hududullah has been used. But we are using this word hudud in the context of criminal law, criminal justice, only with reference to the punishments. But Quran is using this phrase tilka hududullah with reference to the relationships, that your relationships, particularly your spousal relationship, is guarded. It is being watched. It is being recorded. And if you do any injustice in your relationships, then you will be accountable. And in personal relationships, in interrelationships with the creations, there is accountability. Other personal things in which nobody else is affected may be forgiven anytime, but these are where the accountability is involved. Because if it is forgiven to one, then it will become injustice to the other. So these are hudud Allah, these are being watched, and these are well protected. And one thing more which we must keep in mind is that here there are different types of punishment, say imprisonment, say fine, other things. But in the hereafter, all the punishments referred to are only and only by fire. That is the significance of hudud Allah. Then integrity is the quality of being honest with strong moral principles. Not only being honest, but being honest with strong moral principles. I'll again discuss when we go forward. I'll discuss this point also. Integrity is the act of morality even when no one is watching. Example of Yusuf alayhi salam. When nobody is watching, no cop is standing at the signal, but doesn't break the signal. That is integrity. Even when no one is watching, the CCTV of the cosmos is on. The science has proved that everything, whatever we do, is being recorded. Even after 5 billion years, we are getting the glimpses. We are getting the images of the Big Bang and how the galaxies were formed. Everything is recorded. It is in the cosmos. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ever all watchful. He is observing himself. And everything is being recorded. Fearing Allah, fearing that you are being recorded, fearing that I am being recorded, that leads to one more important aspect of it, that one fears in privacy. Truthful practitioner is fearful in privacy. And the Quran tells us, يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ. Bilghayb, one is fearful, one is conscious, one has reverence, one has awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is Rahman. Yusuf alayhi salam said that he was conscious of God. That is why he didn't go astray. Integrity is the state of being whole and complete person. This is the meaning of integer. In private and in public, being a complete whole person, unbroken, unimpaired, sound, composed, whole. He cannot be lured. One cannot be led astray. Integrity is multi-dimensional concept of compliance. As human being, we don't know what is the responsibility and the burden of integrity which we are carrying. We say that we are carrying billions of genes in our human genome, and there are millions of other genes. There are social genes, there are balancing genes. It's a great responsibility. And keeping them whole as one compact. These are multi-dimensional functions and the responsibilities which we are carrying. Rules as well as social expectations have to be made. It is not just the rules. Look at the philosophy that integrity is multi-dimensional concept of compliance of rules as well as social expectations. The rules have to be performed along with the social expectations. With morality and ethics, and with actions as well as attitude. Some people become proudful. If somebody is honest and he has a cruel attitude, if somebody is honest and the person does not have humility, in the beginning I had talked about humility, I'll come to that also, then it is not the integrity which is being demanded. This is a greater responsibility which we are carrying on our shoulders as human beings. A person with integrity lives, not only exists, but lives with values in relationships in the society, all society. Values. Honesty and trust are central to integrity. Acting with honor and truthfulness are basic tenets of integrity. Look at the different aspects involved. People with integrity follow moral and ethical principles in all aspects of life. I'm going slow because these are different aspects and overlapping each other. And this time I'm exposing slides for slightly for more time so that we assimilate in all aspects of life. And how the Quran presents it, we'll see that also. Quran says that there are different aspects of integrity, not just one, that I say La ilaha illallah and I become a person of integrity. There are different aspects which Quran places. Muslimin, Mu'mineen, Qaniteen, Sadiqeen, Sabirin, Khashin, Mutasaddiqeen, Sa'imin, Hafizin. And in other ayat also other qualities are also mentioned. If anybody is a Muslim, for example, but he does not a Mu'min. He is a Mu'min, but he is not one of the Qanitin. It means the whole personality. We have seen that integer, the word integer, even in mathematics, it means that which is indivisible. It's whole. It's a concept of whole personality, identity, character. All these things we have seen and we are proceeding step by step. And same thing is for the women. Muslimat, Mu'minat, Qanitat, Sadiqat, Sabirat, Khashat, Mutasaddiqat, Saimat, Hafizat. And here one thing is very important. There are two important things in this ayat, that why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned these two, Muzakkar and Muannas, male and female together, and other places not. We simply say that since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to tell that women are also included, yes, that is also there. There are other aspects also. And why kasiran? وَالذَّاكِرِينَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. We say we are doing zikr of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the phrase in Quran, zikr bi ayatillah. And we leave zikr bi ayatillah. We come to only, just spreading, just moving the beats. And then you have seen yourself that how we are doing zikr. We say we have a lot of time, we have a lot of resources. So we are doing zikr of some persons, some personalities. In Quran tells us that you are doing the zikr of your abaikum, your forefathers. It means we have time, we have resources, we have space. If that is the case, then do it for zikr Allah kasira. And it is not just spreading just moving the beats. It is zikr bi ayatillah, the phenomenon of nature. Make the mention of phenomena of nature. That is zikr of Allah. Discuss nature. Discuss about the nature which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Look, discuss those phenomena. Zikr bi ayatullah. Zikr with the science of Allah. The sciences of Allah. The ayat of Allah. That is zikr. It is not the beat. It is not the zikr of anybody that I am holding kawali. That is zikr. That is not zikr. Zakirina lillah. Zakirin Allah. Zikr zakirin Allah kasira. But in another ayat, as I said, that only the male has been, instead of including the female here, only Sabreen, Sadiqeen, Qaniteen, Munfiqeen, Mustakfirin have been used. These words have been used. There is a context. In one place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is discussing with reference to the family. And at other place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is discussing with reference to the humankind, to the society. I go back to the earlier ayat. No society can be society with integrity if only it is expected that the women should lower their gaze and women should be pure and they should remain confined in the khayam. They should remain confined in the house and they should become pure. They should remain pure and not the male. Or the vice versa, that the male should be pure, but not the female. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using these repeatedly, repeating Muannas and Muzakkar in the broader context of humanity and the broader context of society, that if you have to if you have to ensure the integrity of the society, then these are the two components. They must go together, Muslimin and Muslimat. There have to be Mu'mineen and Mu'minat. If there are internal contradictions in the family, in the union, the building block is not compact itself. It will not hold the burden of the greater edifice which we are going to build for the society. It is in this broader context that all these are being mentioned repeatedly together, and different aspects of the integrity. Then, ethically speaking, in terms of ethics, as I said, ethics is the set of principles, moral principles. Ethically speaking, integrity is truthful harmony of word, deed, and attitude. It's a truthful harmony of male and female relationships. It is a truthful harmony of all the building blocks, of all the components. And in the context of, in the ethical terms, ethically speaking, in word, deed, and attitude. If the word and deed may be harmonious or maybe in harmony, but not the attitude. You have seen many people who are boastful of their honesty, who are cruel, although they may be honest. They are cruel in their attitude, in their conduct, and their behavior within the family. You have seen so many tribal chiefs, how they act within their family, how the Nawabs act within their family. Now the Vaderas and these chiefs, the tribal chiefs, for example, they act within their family. They may be honest. Even the kuffar at that time, so far as honesty is concerned, they were not all dishonest. Then word, deed, and attitude, they have to be in harmony. And there has to be a complete harmony of the personality. Truthful harmony of self and nature. You are truthful to God and truthful in relationships. Creates natural integrity. Now this is a new term which we are discussing. Coming to the next stage of discussion. If somebody wants to be an integer means whole, complete, compact, which cannot be broken under any circumstances, under any pressure, under any immoral pressure, then he has not only to be a complete whole within his human genome, within his own self, in his own nafs, in his own relationship within the family and the society, that he has to be in integrity. He has to be in harmony with the nature. And it is here where he achieves the status of and gets the natural integrity. Because his self is in harmony, in truthful harmony with the nature. And here I have written nature with in capital. Thus, integrity demands, now step by step, coming to this stage, at this rung of the ladder, integrity demands doing the right thing in a reliable way. It's not only just doing something that I'm right, since I'm honest, I may do it in any way. No, do it in the reliable way, in the way which can be relied. Justice is to be done, not only done, but it is to be done in a way that it is reliable, it is seen, it becomes obvious. People believe that justice has been done. It is reliable, people believe it. Do it in a reliable way. Integrity depends upon, now taking all these factors together, self, person, and all these things together, it depends on the dynamism of internal core, not on external coercion, not on external force, which is being applied on the person, on his conduct. You cannot post a platoon of cops or soldiers at every house within the family, anywhere. It is the internal dynamism of somebody's own self that works, and its dynamism depends upon one's own internal force, not the external force. And how does Quran explain this? وَالنَّفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. It is not just the nafs, the self, which Socrates is using the word self. وَالنَّفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. It is not only the nafs, but there is some force within it, which is keeping it straight, which is keeping it in balance. That is the dynamism of the self. That is the dynamism of nafs. Nafs is working through options, waswasa. It is the functionality of nafs that it gives options. It throws up different options. As you open internet, it gives you different options. Nafs always gives you different options. But there's also a moral force which balances it. Nafsim lavama. How it works. There are not only suggestions in one direction, but there are suggestions in different directions. And it is the balancing part, the savaha. It is the balancing part which keeps you in the right direction if you want to go the right way. And then ultimately, you attain the stage, you come to the stage where you are mutmain, you are satisfied. Your ego, your self is integrated. It becomes integral. You achieve integrity. If you have the balancing force, ma savaha, and then you will have a struggle inside. If somebody is stealing, then the inside will tell him, don't do it, this is bad. If it is, you are balanced, if you can keep the balance and one is satisfied, then this will not disturb him. And that is the stage when one has, this is the indication that now one has integrity. He has the self-integrity, the personal integrity, and that is nafsul mutmainna. Integrity is the indicator. If you find in somebody any sign of integrity, then integrity is the indicator of having value system. It means this person has a value system, not just one time indication, but he has a value system. As a system, it is working, which doesn't admit exception. Yusuf alayhi salam didn't allow any exception to happen, even for a minute, even for a moment, even for a smallest fraction of a time. Let me do this exception, and next time I'll not do this. And he didn't even allow the slightest exception to take place there, even if nothing was going to happen, but he didn't allow even the slightest exception. This is integrity, wholeness. And that is the indicator that this person has the value system. Then what is value system? It works through all Vedas. An example of Yusuf alayhi salam is there. He went through 3 trials, 3 court cases. And in all those cases, in all those situations, he stood firm, upright, in all those trials. Before the ladies, before one lady, before the jury, before the court, before the king, everywhere he stood upright all the time, without wavering. Integrity is the valid, consistent practice of honesty, valid practice. As I said, that you must have seen some people who may be honest but not good in attitude, and that honesty may not be consistent with the welfare of the society, for the goodness of the society, for the good of the people, for the greater good of the people, with constant commitment to moral and ethical principles and values strictly. When all these things come together and somebody has such a level of integrity, then this concept has some other force in him. It is based on some other force. That is the concept of integrity as a comprehensive corpus of beliefs is influenced by one's worldview. Our worldview is influenced by Quran. Our worldview is based on Quran. Somebody's worldview is based on Christianity. Somebody's worldview is based on Judaism. Somebody's worldview is based on some other philosophy or some religion. That draws strength on that foundation, from that foundation. The concept of integrity as a comprehensive corpus of beliefs, all the beliefs together, they don't allow him to go wrong. Whatever the belief system, I'll come to that also, is influenced by one's worldview, how he takes the world. Here we believe that everything is in the next world. That is the worldview we have developed, but Quran doesn't say that. Our worldview is Rabbana Atina Fid Dunya, and then in the hereafter, Wabil Akhirat. But because we have become imbalanced, we are sometimes emphasizing one thing and we are sometimes emphasizing the other thing. Professional integrity. In the beginning, I have shown these terms. In professional perspective, integrity extends to, now we are coming from family, we are coming outside, all work, all performance, all production, all delivery, everything, even decision making, interaction with colleagues, customers, clients, and all. These all require professional integrity. Ufu bil uqud. Even if you make a promise to anybody, you conclude, you make a contract with anybody, not only the spousal contract, but any contract with anybody, you say anything, you promise anything, you have to fulfill that. Even if it costs you, that is part of integrity. Then there is a causal link. There's a cause and effect working there. It has been shown, I'm not quoting those studies, but there are a lot of studies which have established a cause and effect relationship. A causal relationship has been established between integrity and better performance. If you are a person of integrity, your performance will be better, even in privacy. Better performance and quality of work or quality of life. All these things together, there's a causal link. If somebody is a person of integrity, then his performance will be better and his quality of work will be better. His quality of life will be better. And are there any benefits? Integrity increases productive and positive performance. The studies show that the production or the productivity of that person is better, is greater. Of individuals, groups, organizations, and society. It works at all levels. But let us see, does it work in the hereafter also? How it works? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the bearers of truth, Mu'minun, this is the meaning of Mu'minun, those who bear the truth, Mu'minun, prosper. Those who are truthful to God, those who are truthful to the society, those who are truthful to the creation, those who are truthful to the nature. We have seen all these things, and step by step, they definitely prosper. Kad, definitely. Yes, of course. Afla, and very effective verb has been used. Afla al-mu'minun. Those who purify themselves, who have integrity, they definitely prosper. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling that how it works. When the nafs is working, it's working, it's its functionality to give you options. Those who are saved from the suggestions or options, the wrong options, wrong suggestions of the nafs, they are definitely going to prosper. They are the prosperous who save themselves from the wrong suggestions. You open an internet, you get so many options. If you save yourself from going in the wrong direction, you go into the right direction, you go to business, for example, there is a possibility of your success. But if you go to the wrong side, then definitely one is going to lose. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is giving a personal, then society, and the higher level. Three things have been mentioned. Saving from the shuhan nafs, and then following the guideline, Allah Huda, following the guideline, and then adopting as a system. Yamruna bil maruf wa yanhaun 'anil munkar. These three things have been mentioned, which are very important. It's not just saving from the nafs only, but at the same time going the right way, Huda. And when not, it's not just the individual's work, it is a society, it is the family. But if there is a contradiction, if somebody contradicts kazib, if somebody contradicts the integrity, the requirements of integrity, those things which we have discussed, then he will not prosper. They will not prosper. And this is the reason that we are not prospering. Let us admit, let us confess, we are not prospering because we are contradicting all the requirements that create personal integrity, that create professional integrity, that create integrity of the society, in the culture, in the society. We are contradicting at every step. We are telling lies, for example. That is our habit. It has become our habit. Let us confess. That is why we are not prospering. We take it easily. But integrity is a great responsibility. And being a human being, that is why it is a responsibility. Acting with integrity means understanding, accepting, and choosing option to live in accordance with one's principles. This is the concept of Quran. That yes, I have heard and I accept. Quran tells us, yes, I have heard and I accept. But those who said, we heard, but we are not obeying, they failed. Quran tells very clearly in contrast, in the same ayat. It is understanding. Allah Quran says, don't fall on any ayat without understanding. Understanding and then accepting and then choosing to act upon it according to the principles. It is the opposite of hypocrisy. Yu'minun, and then the hypocrites, munafiqun, they have been explained, they have been discussed in contrast. When all these things are now coming together, wholeness of character, We have reached that stage. Then integrity refers to inner sense of wholeness of character. In one word, integer, which is indivisible, which cannot be divided, and it becomes the character of the person and character of the people, character of the group, character of the society. Ummatam wusta. Quran has given a guideline and the path, the roadmap that leads to make a whole society as Ummatam wusta, the civil society, Ummatam wusta. The Quranic concept that demands harmonious wholeness. It's not a patchwork that I am dishonest now, I'll be honest in the evening. I am dishonest in one thing and I'll be honest in the other. Between both internal and external manifestations of character, in my thinking, in my attitude, in my word and in my deed, in private and in public, in situations of comfort and compulsion. The situation of Yusuf alayhi salam, compulsion. This is the wholeness which Quran is demanding. If somebody is mu'minun, it's an option. One can leave. This is the responsibility when you say that I'm mu'min. We are carrying on our shoulders, and as a society, it's a much greater responsibility. Here, this wholeness is being demanded by Quran, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is the demand? Qalb Salim, Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he is declared as the Imam of humanity, the Imam, the leader of all mankind, because of his Qalb Salim, wholeheartedness. At different places it has been used, the Qalb Salim. And then there's another aspect of the qalb, of the heart, of the mind. What is that? Qalb Munib. Yes, we are human beings. We can err. We can commit mistakes. But there must be some solution. In spite of our all intentions, we can commit a mistake. We can commit a mistake. Now, there should be a Qalb Munib, heart which is returning. How we can return? There's an example. Taking responsibility for one's actions. Adam alayhi salam, when he was told, why you did this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, I had told you don't do this, but why you did that? And they accepted. Rabbana zalamna anfusana. They accepted the responsibility. And this quality is one of the greatest qualities of a leader, that he was going to be a leader. They accepted the responsibility. They took the responsibility. Yes, we did it. We are sorry for that. We apologize. Forgive us. Guide us. Now give us the remedy for this. Cure us from this. This is the responsibility. In the beginning, I had used the word intellectual humility, and this is recognized. Intellectual humility is not a weakness, but a strength. It is accepted in all the philosophies. Intellectual humility is not a weakness, but a strength in contrast to pride of vices. If somebody takes pride in his wrong things, in his vices, or arrogance of ignorance, Abu Jahl, example, or Iblis, they took pride in the wrong path which they had selected. Intellectual humility is not a weakness, but the weakness is the pride of vices. That is the weakness, and that is going to destroy. Here, another word is being used by Quran, Hanifan Musliman. When you accept it, then you are mindfully upright. You are not just upright, not by accident. Yusuf alayhi salam was not upright just by accident. Ibrahim alayhi salam was not upright just by accident. Musa alayhi salam was not acting upright just because an accident. He was mindful. We'll come to that also, inshallah. We'll discuss that also. How the mind works scientifically. They were Hanifan Musliman. They accepted and they were upright mindfully. Quran is using this term many times. Mindfully becoming. Now, in contrast, if this is not the case, if there is a contrast, there is a contradiction, what happens? What is the position? Kazib, Takzeeb, Munafiq, Kafir, Mushrik. Now, what is Kazib? Who denies? You have seen in Surah Ar-Rahman, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Those who deny laws of nature, they are Kazib. In Surah Ar-Rahman, repeatedly being told in the explanation of laws of nature, those who deny the laws of nature are going to lose. And we are denying the laws of nature. We are not obeying them. If somebody wants a son, he is going to the grave. Somebody wants a child, he is going to the grave. Denying the laws of nature. Munafiq, those who are deceptive of laws of nature. Kindly read Quran deeply and understand these ayat. It's not just munafiqat which is being discussed at the surface. It is the deception to the nature, laws of nature, which are inbuilt, in fact, in the human genome also. Then who is kafir? Those who violate laws of nature, who go against the laws of nature. And then who is mushrik? Those who confuse, mix up laws of nature. Allah is the creator. But Nauzubillah minna, they may call somebody else as Allah. This is confusing the laws of nature, attributing the divinity and the spirituality to something which is not a fact, which is a lie, which has no basis in science, in nature at all. The Kazib, Munafiq, Kafir, Mushrik kindly understand this terminology and the perspective in Quran. When this abstinence becomes hardened, then what does happen? The heart becomes hardened, the attitude becomes hardened. Even one may be honest, then becomes hardened, arrogant. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that in contrast to Qalbi Salim, in contrast to Qalbi Munib, it becomes Qalbi Mutakabbir and Jabbar, arrogant and tyrant. That is why in the beginning you have seen that in the definition of integrity, I had included this humility. And it is, and even if one is honest, but if he is arrogant and tyrant, then he has no integrity. There is another requirement. We are going up and up the ladder. We have reached the Qalb Salim, then Qalb Munib, then Hanifan Musliman. Now there's another the position, and that is for the highest position which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is awarded. In a human capacity, receiving the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, receiving a trust from Him, delivering it, implementing it, that is the highest office for any human being. Being a human, that is the highest responsibility one can be assigned. And for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is attaching two more qualities to the integrity. That is Aminun and Siddiqun. These are two more qualities on which there is no compromise to be a prophet. And prophets were selected from this group. Not only being bearer of the truth, not only just being Mu'min, not only being the bearer of truth, but also testifier of truth. Before Pharaoh, before Nimrud, before any challenge, they are the testifiers of truth. In these ayat, you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling, and the Prophet is all the time telling them, I am Rasulun Aminun. Look at this repetition. Rasulun Aminun. I am the deliverer of the message. Aminun. Trustworthy. Secure message I have brought to you. I think I have I don't know how I missed it. Sorry, slides have gone. Okay, yes. Rasulun Aminun. And then we find here, this is Kaviyun Aminun. When the CV or the biodata, in simple terms, I'm trying to say that when the CV was presented of Musa alayhi salam for his employment, for his appointment, one of the ladies recommended that he is Kaviyun Aminun. He is trustworthy. He is very strong in his trust. He can be trusted. Aminun. He was going to be the prophet. But here, even for the employment, even for the job here, Aminun is required. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells that I have.
Can you go back to 55 again, please?
At the end, you may raise the question. Kindly let me go with this. I don't understand the question here. I don't know what was the interruption. Now, Ruhul Amin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling that I have sent you the message, sent you the revelation, which is secure. Ruhul Amin is the command is fully secure. And we are using the same terminology without knowing that Quran has used this terminology. The science is using the same terminology of Ruhul Amin. Ruhul Amin, the Ruh, the command. Yasaluna kane Ruh. Kulli Ruh min Amr Rabbi. Ruh is the command, Amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I've sent this Amr in a secure mode, Amin. For example, the same word is used Amin for the Balad, the region. Hazal Baladil Amin. This is the secure region. Electronic signals are said to have integrity when there is no corruption of information between one domain and another, such as from a disk drive to computer display. This is the terminology which computer is using, integrity. Secure command, secure delivery, secure operation, secure feature. Such integrity is the fundamental principle of information assurance, Ruhul Amin. Corrupted information is not trustworthy. Nazzala bihi Ruhul Amin. And then, as I said, that the Quran is using the dual terminology of Aminun and Siddiqun, and for Nabiyan also, Siddiq. This is one of the requirements of integrity. Siddiqun and Aminun, both. Sadiqin, from Sadiq, Siddiq. But why I have chosen this ayat to display here? In the same ayat, you see the difference of usage of the word. I'm taking time, but with this I'll finish this today's presentation. But if you allow me, I'll complete this inshallah very soon. Kana kamisuhu kudda min duburin fakazziba wa huwa min as-sadiqin. There is a great lesson of law, great wisdom, which is being taught here. It's although small digression also. This has become our habit. This has become our pattern in the society. That how the injustice takes place in the words. You have seen the examples of justice in Quran, in Sunnah, in the Muslim history, that if the judge addresses the complainant, the petitioner, and the defendant with a different terminology. For example, judge addresses the petitioner, and this has been recorded in history. If the judge addresses the petitioner with name, by name, and addresses the other person with a title, that shows that the mind of the judge is under influence. He's calling somebody with his name, and he's calling the other person with a title, which is the title of honor, dignity, upper status. Here, this injustice is being done to Yusuf alayhi salam. by the judge or by the jury, by the shahid, who is a witness. He is using different terminology for Zulaikha, and he is using different terminology for Yusuf alayhi salam. If he says, and this is happening in the society today, if somebody from particular group is committing a crime, then immediately he's called a lone wolf, as a singular person, as one person doing that. If the same thing is done by another person, but from a different group, then the entire group is being addressed in plural, that they do this, they have done this, they are doing this. This is the same law. Injustice being done in this system there. For Zulaikha, singular is used, lone wolf. She kazibat. If she has done this, then she is wrong. If she has not done this, she is right. But if it is done by him, Yusuf alayhi salam, then they are those, they do like this, Sadiqeen, they are Kazimeen. Do you understand the difference? This is a great principle of law. And this very attitude shows from these words right in the beginning, the attorney would understand, the judge, the people who know the legal language will understand that the mind of the judge is in favor of Zulaikha. Although Yusuf alayhi salam was found not guilty, yet they imprisoned him. They said, let him remain in jail for some time. But this sentence, this very sentence indicated right in the beginning that they are treating Zulaikha as a one-time, as a lone wolf, and they are treating Yusuf alayhi salam as somebody from the group who are prone to doing these things, and they may not do in a situation sometimes. With this, I think we are going to conclude. But then other manifestations of integrity and wholesome character, what are those? I'll not explain, just I'm showing you the list. This is the entire list of the manifestations, some of the manifestations, not all, but some of the manifestations. This is just a list. Rightness, uprightness, and so many other things. And then honesty in all situations. With this, I conclude today's part of the presentation. It is 1 hour, and inshallah, Allah willing, we'll go to the next part. Status and reward. I think let me complete this, and then I think that's the last. Yes, but I had raised the question: is there any reward for this? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says yes. Therefore, thus yes. Ulaika ma'allazina an'ama Allahu alayhim. And these are the people who have whole integrity, wholeheartedness. Then they will be so rewarded so much that they will be with the Nabiyyin, with the Siddiqeen, with the Shuhada, with the Salihin. They will be in this great company, at that status. With this, I conclude. Thank you very much. And I request one of our friends said, I think, raised a question. If he has any question, he can raise it now with the permission of Dr. Salama, if he allows the discussion to proceed. Thank you very much, sir. Allah may forgive.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه.
آمين.
بحلالك عن حرامك وبطاعتك عن معصيتك وبفضلك عن من سواك. بفضلك ورحمتك على كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين.
آمين.
Spread your mercy upon us. Shower us with your blessings. Increase our knowledge. Grant us forgiveness. And reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. O Allah, purify our heart. Strengthen our faith. Increase our knowledge and make us benefit from what you have taught us. O Allah, forgive our parents and all the believer. Grant them mercy. Make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. O Allah, remedy our sick and recovery. Oh Allah, grant our son Ma'raj, all our friends and relatives who are sick, speedy and full recovery. Oh Allah, you alone is the ultimate curer. There is no cure but yours. Oh Allah, grant them a cure that leaves nothing of ailment or injury. Oh Allah, grant us the ability to be grateful for your favors which you have bestowed upon us and our parents, and that we may do righteous deeds that are pleasing to you. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them and make them righteous. We seek from you all of the good, whether we know it or we don't. And we seek your refuge from all evil, whether we know it or we don't. Oh Allah, we ask you every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. آخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.